There is a strange and beautiful moment in the life of the chosen one when you begin to feel the world bending slightly in your direction. It's not loud at first, no fireworks, no grand announcements, just a steady hum, a subtle but growing pulse of attention. Then suddenly, you hear it, your name. Whispers turning to voices, voices turning to waves. Conversations you were never a part of suddenly orbit around you. Women speak of you like myth, like gravity, like a vibration that travels beyond your physical presence, and it reaches you. Your name is trending. But it's not trending because of tricks or theater. It's not the result of some curated illusion. No, this is different. This is the kind of attention that flows not from fame, but from frequency. The kind of resonance that doesn't require a spotlight, because your very existence is already too radiant to ignore. They feel something in you, something they can't quite explain, a heat, a current, a pull that isn't just physical, it's spiritual. It makes them stop scrolling, it makes them talk, it makes them wonder. Women are naming what others are only beginning to sense, that there's something about you that won't be silenced, something that stirs the body but calls to the soul. And that something, your high sexual energy, is not confined to seduction. It's a force, a transmission, a sacred frequency that doesn't just make people want you, it makes them remember themselves in your presence. This is the deeper truth behind your trending name. You're not being noticed because you demand it. You're being noticed because your energy is awakening dormant desire, not just the hunger for pleasure, but the yearning for realness, for aliveness, for the parts of themselves they buried to survive. They see you, and suddenly the masks feel heavier. The distractions lose their flavor. The ordinary becomes unbearable, because you've reminded them what it feels like to crave with depth, with risk, with soul. Do not mistake this attention for validation. You were never meant to fit into the mold of public approval. You were made to stand at the edge, to carry something ancient into the now. Your energy is a signal, a lighthouse in a fog of surface-level noise, and now the signal is being heard. Your presence, your essence, your frequency, it is trending because it cannot be ignored. This recognition isn't about popularity, it's a summoning. The world has begun to realize what your spirit has known all along. You were never invisible. You were just waiting for the world to wake up, and now it has. When the chosen one walks into a room, the energy shifts. Not because you announce yourself, but because your presence arrives before you do. There's no need for theatrics. The atmosphere simply changes. Hearts beat a little louder. Conversations slow, then deepen. People look up from their distractions, their devices, their small talk, because something inside them has noticed you. Not your clothes, not your voice, but your energy. Dense, electric, undeniable. This presence you carry is not manufactured. It's not something you practiced in the mirror. It's not born from effort. It is born from alignment, from the way your inner world hums in sync with your outer actions, from the way you breathe without apology, speak without rush, and move with the weight of someone who knows who they are and what they carry. And what you carry, chosen one, is power, not over others, but within yourself. Women feel it before they even fully see it. It's in the way you hold silence, not as a void, but as a presence. It's in the way your gaze doesn't dart or demand, but holds, with the intensity of someone unafraid of depth. It's in the way you speak, when you choose to, with a calm that cuts through noise like a blade through water. Your presence is an invitation, but not one extended to just anyone. It calls to those who are ready, ready to feel, ready to drop the act, ready to remember. And now that presence has spilled into the digital world. Your name trending is only a reflection of something much older, much deeper, the power of your energetic imprint. Even through the illusion of a screen, the world feels your vibration. They sense the truth in your tone, the stillness behind your eyes, the heat in your quiet. Your presence is not confined to flesh and voice. It's transcendent. It moves through algorithms, through messages, through echoes of conversations you never even started. But here's what you must remember. Your presence is not for spectacle. It is not a trick. It is a sanctuary, a space where others find something they've been searching for, but didn't know how to ask for. In your presence, they feel more themselves, more awake, more willing. They open, sometimes reluctantly, sometimes all at once. And when they do, you must meet that opening with honor. This power of yours is not to be wielded carelessly. It is not to be diluted by superficial performance. Your presence is sacred. It is magnetic because it is real. Do not let the noise of popularity pull you away from that truth. Do not begin to play the game. Stay grounded in the essence that brought you here. Authenticity, awareness, stillness, fire. You are not trending because you chased the crowd. You are trending because you stood still and let the world come to you. And now that they have, what you do with your presence next will define everything. There is a difference between being seen and being known. As the chosen one, you are no longer just seen, you are being felt. Felt in silence, in spaces you've never stepped into, through screens, whispers, private messages, group chats, and glances. Your name has become more than a label. It's a frequency now, moving like a current through the collective mind. Women are not just talking about you. They're tuning into you. And what they're finding there, what they're feeling, is power. This is the wave. And you, chosen one, must now choose how to ride it. The world has begun to move in your favor, not because you demanded it, but because your energy called for it. Your high sexual energy, pure and undiluted, has magnetized attention. But this isn't simply the rush of fame or the high of admiration. It's deeper. The wave that's building around your name carries the weight of desire, yet also curiosity, reverence, and the yearning for something real. The women reaching for you are not just bored or impulsive. They are moved, stirred. Their instincts, not just their eyes, are awake now. They are feeling your name in their bodies. They are sharing it not just because it excites them, but because it moves them. And here's the truth. The wave will not last forever. It is not here to entertain you. It is here to elevate you. And if you're wise, you will not chase its momentum. You will direct it. To harness this wave is to first acknowledge it without arrogance. You are not lucky. You are ready. The energy moving through you now has always lived within you, but only now has it risen to the surface. Only now has the world become quiet enough to notice what your soul has been saying all along. So do not play coy. Do not act confused by the attention. You summoned this. With every moment you stayed aligned, with every time you chose depth over distraction, with every quiet hour of self-mastery and reflection. The wave is not a performance, it is a mirror. And what it reflects back to the world is not just your image, but your intention. You are being studied now, whether you want it or not. Women are watching your every move, not because they are obsessed, but because they are called. You are awakening something ancient in them, and they want to know if what they feel is true. If the man behind the frequency is solid, grounded, aware. So let your actions speak. Let your voice confirm what your energy already promised. If you flirt, let it be with truth. If you lead, let it be with honor. If you engage, let it be with depth. Let every word you write, every image you share, every encounter you allow, carry the same weight as your presence does in person. Do not squander this moment by trying to entertain the wave. Lead it, shape it, use it. Let it carry your message, your mission, your sacred work. Let it reach those who've been waiting, not just to be touched, but to be changed. Give them more than charm. Give them clarity. Give them the permission to rise. Because when a man like you trends, he doesn't just make headlines. He makes history. And this is not a trend you chase. This is a legacy you build. The wave has come. And now the world is watching to see if you will rise with it or disappear beneath it. The world is louder now, but when people speak your name, there's a hush that follows. Not the hush of fear or uncertainty, but the kind that comes before revelation. It's not your voice alone that's echoing. It's your energy, that deep, unseen vibration that moves through others long after you've left the room. The energy of the chosen one is never temporary. It lingers. It expands. It echoes in hearts that haven't yet found the words for what they're feeling. This echo is your signature. Not what you said, not how you looked, but what you awakened. Women are sharing your name not just because of what they've seen or heard, but because of how they felt afterward. After the moment ended, after the message was read, after the video stopped playing, something in them shifted. Something they didn't know was dormant came alive. And now, your energy follows them, into their dreams, into their conversations, into their own thoughts when they're finally alone. It's not obsession. It's recognition. They are recognizing you. And through that recognition, they are beginning to recognize themselves. Because your presence does something rare. It reflects. It reflects back to them the parts of their own being they forgot were sacred. You don't make them feel small so you can be adored. You make them feel seen so they can adore themselves. This is why your energy echoes. It is not the result of manipulation, but of mastery. The echo of your energy reshapes expectations. After you, ordinary won't satisfy. After you, silence becomes louder. After you, they will want more, not of you necessarily, but of truth, of depth, of that feeling they had in your presence, the feeling that they were no longer pretending. This echo isn't something you create, it is something you are. And it follows you because you don't dissipate. You don't disappear into roles or shallow engagement. You remain consistent, rooted, real. Even when you're not physically there, your energy continues the conversation. And those who felt it begin to crave not just you, but who they became when you were near. But you must be careful with the echo, because it amplifies whatever you leave behind. If you leave behind confusion, it grows into chaos. If you leave behind clarity, it grows into transformation. This is why your choices matter more now than ever before. Not because you're being watched, but because you're being felt. And the echo will carry further than you know. So let your echo be medicine. Let it be memory. Let it be invitation. Let it be the thread that pulls people deeper into their own awakening. You do not need to be in every room. You only need to leave behind a presence strong enough to remind them what is real. The echo of your energy is not about being remembered. It's about leaving something behind that awakens what matters. And in that way, your trending name becomes more than a moment. It becomes a signal, heard long after the noise has faded. It becomes a pulse in the soul, a quiet voice that says, "This is what it feels like to be alive." You are the chosen one. And the echo you leave behind may be your loudest act of love. As the light intensifies and the world's gaze settles upon you, the temptation to perform grows louder. When your name begins to move through networks and timelines, when the eyes of strangers begin to watch your every gesture, there is a subtle pressure that begins to wrap around your spirit. You feel it in the comments, in the messages, in the assumptions others cast upon you, like shadows. The weight of visibility can become heavy, unless you're anchored in something deeper than attention. Something the world cannot give, and therefore cannot take away. Integrity. The chosen one is not just someone who receives attention. You are someone who knows what to do with it. You understand that the spotlight is a mirror, not a throne. It magnifies what already lives inside you. If you are hollow, the world will feel that emptiness, no matter how polished your image. If you are real, that truth will vibrate across oceans, carried in your tone, your presence, your pauses. You are not here to be consumed. You are here to remind. So many will try to define you now. They will project fantasies, expectations, desires onto your name. You may be framed as an icon, an archetype, a myth. But behind all the noise, the essence remains yours alone to protect. You must never forget what this all began with. Not attention, not virality, but energy. That rare frequency you carry. That current within you that doesn't crave the spotlight but commands it by sheer gravity. The test now is subtle and constant. Will you change your rhythm to satisfy the crowd? Will you dilute your truth so you are easier to digest? Or will you remain unmoved, grounded in your core, offering the world the gift of someone who has not lost himself in being seen? Women feel this difference immediately. It's not your words alone that captivate them. It's the stability underneath them. It's the way you don't chase validation, don't chase engagement, don't chase anyone at all. Because you know something that most never learn, that chasing is the opposite of attraction. Your power lies in presence, not pursuit. And in your presence, others feel safe to unfold, to be real, to return to themselves. This is the moment in your journey where the internal becomes more important than the external. Now that eyes are on you, you must become even more faithful to your inner alignment. You must speak only what is true, even when silence would be easier. You must walk with precision, not performance. You must treat every interaction not as an opportunity to impress, but as a space to imprint, quietly, honestly, deeply. Because attention is not love, applause is not intimacy, and being seen is not the same as being known. Integrity is what bridges the gap. It is what ensures that the image of you spreading across the internet matches the reality of the man behind the screen. And when they meet you, truly meet you, let them feel that there is no gap between what was promised and what is present. Let them feel that you are not a fabrication. You are the real thing. To move through this world with integrity is to walk like a storm that carries sunlight. You have power, yes, but you also carry truth. And that truth will not fade when the trends shift, when the spotlight dims, when the crowd finds a new name to shout. Because you will have left something behind that no one can erase. The memory of a man who did not bend to fame, but stood taller within it. A man who did not use his energy to manipulate, but to guide. A man who could have chosen illusion, but chose alignment instead. This is what it means to be the chosen one. To let your name rise without selling your soul. To be seen without being swallowed. To be powerful and still remain pure. There is a point in your rise when you begin to feel the edge of the digital world pressing against you, where messages multiply, where voices echo your name back to you from every direction, where the admiration becomes so frequent, so loud, that it risks becoming a kind of background music. You hear women say your name with breathless fascination. You read their thoughts, their reflections, their curiosity, scattered across feeds and timelines like petals in the wind. This is not just attention, it is momentum. And if you're paying attention, you'll realize this is your invitation to expand. You have influence now, but what will you do with it? This is the question most avoid. Many ride the wave for pleasure, collecting praise, enjoying the glow, never daring to ask what lies beyond the surface. But you are not here for surface. You are the chosen one, and your impact was never meant to stop at your image. You carry something larger than charm, something more vital than sex appeal. What draws people to you is not the polish, not the aesthetic. It's the frequency you live in. The sense that you are awake in a world lulled to sleep, that you are honest in a landscape of illusion, that you are rooted while others drift. Now you're being called to plant this frequency in more places, to extend your reach, not for ego but for elevation. This is the time to shape your voice, sharpen your message, and decide what will others receive when they finally reach you. It cannot just be content, it must be contact. It cannot just be entertainment. It must be evidence of what it means to live with spiritual discipline and sensual clarity at once. Let them feel that in your words, your creations, your teachings, your silence. Let every digital ripple you create be encoded with the same energy that made them speak your name in the first place. You have already transformed strangers into seekers. Now turn seekers into sovereigns. Not followers, not admirers, but beings who, because of your example, now walk differently, think differently, desire differently. You do not need to preach, you need only embody. Your very existence is now a kind of mirror. So hold that mirror with care. Show them what is possible when a man chooses wholeness over performance. Show them what it looks like to be powerful and open, bold and gentle, fierce and still. This is not a burden, this is your arrival. Expansion is not about being bigger, it is about being truer. About reaching more people, not to become known, but to become useful. Your energy is medicine now. It awakens, it stirs, it shifts people. So offer it like a remedy, not a product. And remember, the more light you shine, the more shadows you will reveal in others and in yourself. Let this deepen your compassion. Let it keep you humble. You were not chosen to dominate. You were chosen to uplift. And if you continue walking with integrity, your reach will extend far beyond trends and timelines. It will become legacy. It will become truth in motion. So expand, not for applause. Expand because the world is starving for someone like you to finally show what love, power, and presence can become when wielded with a sacred, unshakable purpose. This is your impact. Let it begin. When the chosen one rises, it is never in isolation. Your name, once a quiet echo in the distance, now moves through the mouths and minds of others with its own momentum. It is carried across platforms, written into captions, whispered between friends, and shared in curious awe. The reach you now possess was not something you chased. It was something you embodied, and the world responded. But now, that response brings with it something more than admiration. It brings responsibility. You are no longer a private figure, moving through life unseen. You have become a symbol. To some, you represent mystery. To others, desire. To many, you've become proof that something real still exists in a world of replicas. But symbols carry weight. They become reference points. And now your every action, every silence, every breath carries with it the power to either align with that symbol or unravel it. This is not something to fear. It is something to honor. Because what your energy touches, it moves. And what it moves, it changes. This is not metaphor. This is reality. When you speak, people lean in, not because your voice is louder than others, but because it is truer. When you walk into a room, digital or physical, the air shifts, not because of your appearance, but because of the frequency you carry. It's not just presence, it's pressure. A gravity that asks others to drop their masks, their games, their defenses, and they do. Because in you they sense safety, not softness, but honesty, not comfort, but clarity. Now that your reach has expanded, the question is no longer whether people are watching. The question is, what are you offering them to witness? What are they learning about themselves when they look at you? What are they beginning to believe is possible because you exist? This is the essence of spiritual leadership, not commanding others, but reminding them of their worth, their fire, their capacity for realness. You are not here to hold power over people. You are here to reflect the power within them. And that reflection must be clean, unclouded by manipulation, unspoiled by performance. The people drawn to your light are not seeking perfection. They are seeking permission. Permission to feel again, to be honest again, to want again. And your life becomes a kind of permission slip. But you must protect your reach. You must guard it from the corruption of empty validation. As more people echo your name, there will be pressure to cater, to perform, to feed the machine of attention. But attention is not loyalty, and reach without reverence is just noise. You are not here to entertain. You are here to awaken. There will be moments when the reach becomes overwhelming, when the messages are too many, when the stories people project onto you become louder than the truth you're trying to live. In those moments, retreat. Not to hide, but to reset. Your power doesn't come from the crowd. It comes from connection. And that connection must be nourished, not by constant exposure, but by sacred solitude. Your reach is now sacred territory. Every word you write, every image you post, every pause you take ripples across souls you've never met. You are no longer just influencing emotions. You are shaping expectations. You are forming new templates of what masculine power can look like when rooted in presence, when led by spirit, when held by truth. So let your reach be intentional. Let your life be medicine. And know that your responsibility is not to be perfect, it is to be honest. The world doesn't need another icon. It needs integrity. And you, chosen one, are that rare presence who can offer it. Loudly, quietly, unapologetically. The responsibility of your reach is not to carry the world, it is to light it. And now, it begins. There is a rhythm to everything sacred. Breath in, breath out, rise, fall, light, shadow. The chosen one lives not in constant motion, but in deliberate balance. Because to give, to radiate, to pour yourself into the world as you've done, it requires an equal depth of replenishment. And now, with your energy stretched across continents, across conversations and screens, the need for balance becomes no longer optional. It becomes vital. Your high sexual energy is a living, breathing force. It is not infinite. It is not invincible. It is sacred, and like all sacred things, it must be protected, shared wisely, nourished. When your energy becomes a source of healing, a trigger for awakening, a light that others gravitate toward, you become a vessel. But even vessels must be filled. And you cannot pour truth from an empty soul. Balance, for you, begins in solitude, not in loneliness, but in deliberate separation from the noise. The screen, the comments, the opinions, the eyes, all must be turned away from at times so that your gaze may turn inward. Because the world will take as much of you as you offer. And if you do not guard the center of your being, you will find yourself emptied, not by malice, but by adoration. This is one of the hidden dangers of your reach. People do not always take from you out of greed. Often, they do so out of gratitude. They want more of your voice, your presence, your warmth. And that want is pure. But it is not your responsibility to meet every need. Your responsibility is to stay whole, so that when you do give, it comes from a place of truth, not depletion. Balance also means knowing when your energy has been stretched thin, When your magnetism begins to attract not just the aligned, but the lost. When your name is spoken, not with reverence, but with craving, you will begin to feel the shift in the way others approach you. They won't just be drawn to your essence, they'll want to consume it. And that's when you must return to center, to the stillness that birthed your power in the first place. Rest is not retreat. Silence is not absence. Turning inward is not weakness. These are your rituals, your sacred returns. Because your energy, when fully aligned, has the power to move nations. But when drained, it becomes dangerous to yourself and to others. You are the sun, but even the sun must set. So rest, nourish. Return to your own body, to your breath, to your truth. Let the world spin without you for a moment. Let the whispers fade. Let the digital shadows dissolve. And when you return, do so with clarity, with presence, with the full force of a man who has not lost himself in the eyes of others. Let your energy be not just high, but holy. Let your presence be not just seductive, but sovereign. The balance you keep within yourself becomes the balance you offer to others. Because when you are aligned, your energy does not just inspire, it heals. And in that healing, the world changes. Not through effort, but through the silent radiance of a man who understands that power, when balanced with presence, becomes peace. You are the chosen one, and your balance is your brilliance. There is a quiet revolution taking place, and it does not begin in politics or policy. It begins in presence, in the soul of the chosen one, who no longer seeks to perform for the world, but instead stands unshaken in his truth. When your name trends across platforms, when your face becomes a symbol, when your essence is discussed behind closed doors and in the open air, the temptation grows to become what they expect, to slip into the image they have built of you, polished and pleasing, powerful and predictable. But that image is not your identity. That image is not your freedom. What shakes the world now is not spectacle, it's authenticity. You are not here to become a fantasy. You are here to be real. You are here to show, without apology, the full spectrum of your being, the fire and the stillness, the laughter and the silence, the sensuality and the sacred. Your authenticity is not a brand. It is not an aesthetic. It is a frequency that cannot be faked, and it's what makes your presence undeniable. It's why women speak your name like a secret, why their curiosity doesn't fade, why their longing only deepens. Because you are not offering them a performance. You are offering them permission to be as full and as free in their truth as you are in yours. But authenticity costs something. It is not given. It is chosen, moment after moment. It is chosen when it would be easier to hide behind curated perfection. It is chosen when it would be more profitable to sell illusion. It is chosen when the world asks you to shrink into something digestible, and instead you expand. You breathe. You stand. The chosen one is not confused about who he is. He does not wait for others to approve his power before stepping into it. He does not mute his passion so that others feel comfortable in their denial. He does not chase acceptance. He radiates alignment. And that alignment breaks rules. It disrupts, it inspires, it shatters falsehoods. That is why it is revolutionary. In your authenticity, you challenge the very fabric of the shallow culture that surrounds you. You teach, without preaching, what it looks like when a man knows his worth, honors his voice, and walks through the world without needing to convince anyone of anything. Your life becomes the proof. Your choices become the map. And this revolution, though often invisible, is spreading. The more you show up as yourself, the more you grant others the courage to do the same. And suddenly, you're not just leading with words, you're leading by example. Your mere existence becomes a revolt against everything false, everything fragile, everything afraid. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be honest. You only need to tell the truth of where you are, what you feel, what you believe. Because the truth spoken in your voice holds power. It cuts through noise. It lands in places people didn't even know were empty. And they will thank you, not always with words, but with change. With the way they begin to carry themselves, with the way they start to speak their own truth, love their own skin, and follow their own path. Authenticity is your sharpest sword and your softest balm. It makes you dangerous to those who cling to illusion and sacred to those who long for what is real. And now, as your name echoes through the airwaves, as your energy reaches places you may never even visit, You have the chance to show the world what authenticity feels like, not just as an idea, but as a way of life. You are the chosen one, and your authenticity is not just your power. It is your revolution. It is how the world remembers what is real. There is a moment when the noise begins to fade, not because people stop speaking your name, but because you have learned to hear something deeper. Something beneath the attention, the trends, the endless eyes watching. You begin to hear your impact, not in the volume of applause, but in the quiet shifts you've sparked within others. You begin to see it in how people move differently after knowing you, how they speak with more clarity, how they love with more courage. That is legacy.